So I want you to meet your heart where it is in this moment. Wherever your heart is, give it grace and love. I want to begin with putting small pieces of energy into taking tiny steps towards rediscovering joy. Because we're talking about acceptance here. We're talking about being a team captain. We're talking about learning to love the life you have and to let go of the one you thought you were going to have. Hi, I'm Bridget Shipman, and I'm the host of A Mother's Guide Through Autism podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about essential piece of advice number 5. As you know, I've been talking to you each week through a series of giving you essential pieces of advice that I have created for anyone who is a mother guide and you're on the journey of the autistic spectrum disorder with your child. And today, what I'm going to be talking about for number 5 is accepting that it's okay to not be okay. So think about that for just a minute. Just absorb that idea that it's really okay not to be okay with it. And I can remember sitting in a therapy session, and I talked a little bit about this last time. I was in deep therapy because I had decided that it was important for me to do the inner work to really help my family. And what I discovered along the way is that I personally had a lot of work to do, and I had many life tsunamis that hit me, and autism being one of them. And so when I was sitting in this therapy session, I really had a pretty big aha for myself. And I looked at my therapist and I said, what if I'm never okay with it? What if I never get over it? I'm working so hard to be who I was before these life tsunamis hit me. But what if I don't ever get there? What if I am not that person anymore? What if I am never okay with my son being on the autistic spectrum? Will I ever get over it? And the aha for me in that moment was that it was okay if I wasn't okay with it. No, I am not okay with it. I'm not. I'm okay with him being an independent, very profound young man who has grown so much. But I'm not okay with the worry, the fear. Yes, that continues. But as you build your toolbox and you have these aha moments, that is what brings you forward. That's when you realize that things are exactly the way they are meant to be. And I know that if you're at the beginning of the journey or I talked about in grief, in that anger stage of grief, that is probably one of the last things that you want to hear, because perhaps you're angry. You're angry about the way your life is going right now, and you're in the anger piece of grief. And what I will say to you is, please give yourself permission to grieve and do the work, and let's move through it together. It is okay not to be okay with something. For me, that felt like shackles off. So many times in life, things feel like they're shackles on and you want to break free. And knowing that I'm not going to be the same person that I was before is great. It's part of my journey. It's part of who I am. And it's also part of growth. And it's getting to the other side of pain. It's getting to the other side of grief. And it really does help to realize that, yes, let's do this inner work, but also know that you might be somebody that really has grown through all of this. You might be somebody who is actually paying it forward and helping other people. And I have often said that my son Joseph has been, for sure, the best life teacher that I've ever had. He has helped me be more grounded and more empathetic and a much better teacher and mother and human. I'm better because of it, right? I wouldn't change it. And I know if you're, again, in that anger stage, you're like, yeah, right. So what do I mean by that? If I'm okay with not being okay, it simply means that I'm accepting who my beautiful son is. And he is, in my opinion, perfect. I wouldn't change my son. I wouldn't. He is exactly who he is, and I embrace it. And he embraces me, because last time I checked in, I'm not perfect. I have work that I need to do as well. So I'm okay with the life that I have now. I am okay with, I'm not okay with the life tsunamis that have happened in my life. The pain, I don't like to see other people hurting. I don't like to see other people struggle. And the life that I had planned is completely different now. And I think that's what being okay with not being okay is all about. It's all about giving yourself grace and not trying to find a cure for your heart, comforting your heart, healing your heart, but accepting the scars that you have along the way. And knowing with those scars, those scars are proof that you have survived and you're on the other side of your grief, and that you are living the life that you're meant to live. That's what it means to me. And I wanted to share that with you because, the last episode I shared that I didn't do any therapy or any inner work or any life coaching work until I was in my 50s. And I feel like, had I have been able to do this work earlier, that I would have been able to be a much happier person, more joyful person. And I think a lot of my relationships would have been nurtured. And I think I just, feel like I would have been better at everything, because I can see that now. I can see that I'm a much better person than I was. And I like that. I like that feeling. I like knowing that. And so I want to share that with you. I want you to know that you can give yourself permission to grieve, and you can get to the point where you accept and let go of the life you have planned so that you can live the life that you have and find beauty and grace in that. So this essential piece of advice is really to let you know that it's not about finding some miracle cure to be who you once were before, but to accept your life as it is and find the beauty and joy within that. That's what that means for me. I want to share that living living with being okay with not being okay is living in the present. And knowing that on your hardest days, knowing that all is well. That's really going deeper into that. And you might hear other people refer to, I'm not okay, but I know that it's okay to not be okay, which is a mouthful. It's a big thought. It's a big idea, but really when you sit with it, it just simply means that you're accepting the life that you have. And isn't it beauty? Finding beauty and hope within that. I also think that this and acceptance is all about processing your own goals and expectations. So in other words, when you accept something, it doesn't mean that you're giving up or that you're not going to continue to find any resources that are out there to help your child. It doesn't mean that life is perfect or that you're not going to have struggles or pain. It just simply means that you have awareness. You understand and know that, yeah, this journey is hard. Yes, not really okay with it, but I have a deeper understanding. And I understand that I can shift anytime that I need to shift. I have tools. I know how to set goals and expectations based on who I am, who my children are. And you're the one who knows that. You're the captain of your team. And your team may change. Every school year, you're going to have different players on your team. Every year, different players on your team. But the one consistent player is going to be your child. Your child's always going to be on your team. You're the captain of this team. So how you lead will also help your child understand and know what they're going to do. I find that it's all consuming. I get it. It's all consuming. You're getting pulled. You want to find answers now for your child. You need help with that. I understand that. You need to know the how. How am I going to help my child? What resources are next? What therapy do I need to do next? And it really is up to you what type of leadership, that how you want to be the captain, because if you lead with more joy and happiness, your child is also going to be happier. So think about that, being a team captain. And so acceptance is all part of how you're going to decide to lead. I really would like for you to take this next statement in. How mother guides perceive the diagnosis of our children, how we perceive the diagnosis of autism for our children is critical in how our children perceive their own lives on this journey. So if yes, resources, yes, therapy, yes, finding answers and the how, but also having the awareness in how you manage it, how you present it is how your child's going to accept their own lives. We want to build our children up. So to build our children up, we're going to build ourselves up, because our children's lives are worthy and beautiful. And I personally want everyone to know that. I'm very proud of my son. I'm very proud of who he is. He's one of the best human beings that I have ever met. He is purely just a great person. And I'm so proud of who my son is. And I want him to feel that. So how I address and accept his autism is how he's going to perceive it for himself, how he moves on with his life, and how his confidence builds or doesn't. So what I have learned is, because I have done this work, my son feels better about himself too. Because I'm not constantly trying to change him. I'm just trying to support him. And again, that is teamwork between you and your child and whoever else is on your team as a team captain. So I hope that statement really sunk in with you, depending on where you're at on your journey. And again, this is essential piece of advice number 5. And as I was speaking to you in the last episode, we are moving through this list, and each piece of advice is meant to help you in your next step through your autism journey. It's an evolution. It's a process. It's evolving through your journey. And you want to do that from one destination of your journey to the next together. One important ingredient I found very helpful in accepting the diagnosis of ASD is to let go of all the negative beliefs and expectations that other people have put on you, that you have internalized, because I did that too. And it's really important for you to set reasonable goals, not to overgoal, not to overwhelm yourself, depending on where you are on that journey. Yes, I wanted my son to graduate from high school. He did that. And as a reminder, I've talked about this before, there is a society timeline where if you're not at a certain point in your life, you're looked at maybe a failure. That's the expectations that I'm asking you to let go of. Those are the goals. Have them, but honor them. Just as I've asked you to meet yourself where you're at, to meet your heart where your heart is at, also meet your child where your child is at. That's where the gold is. If something feels too big, make it smaller. Just make it smaller because you want to enjoy this journey. And again, it's all about being you. Essential piece of advice number 3 with that self-compassion, starting with you. Well, being the team captain and guiding your child and how they perceive themselves, that begins with you too. I want you to know you are allowed to have your own dreams. So while you're the team captain of a very important team, I might add, for your child, you also have your own personal dreams. And many times we don't allow ourselves to have them because, at least for me, I felt, that guilt pretty strongly when I was spending time doing things that I enjoyed and not at home with my son, working with them. My hunch is that when I would go do things for myself, that gave my son a break too. I'm pretty sure that he was pretty happy to get a break from his mom. And I was also happy. So remember that it isn't just our feelings, but it's also giving ourselves the love and kindness to also let others have their love and kindness for themselves. If you're not ready to have this conversation, as always, that's perfect, because it is your journey. And listen to it, take the advice, and I'm going to share exercise with you to help you with this acceptance on our journey of not being okay, or being okay with not being okay. So I want you to meet your heart where it is in this moment. Wherever your heart is, give it grace and love. I want to begin with putting small pieces of energy into taking tiny steps towards rediscovering joy. Because we're talking about acceptance here. We're talking about being a team captain. We're talking about learning to love the life you have and to let go of the one you thought you were going to have. And I'm pausing because that's big. That's very big. And I understand that it is. Your joy, our joy, is still in our hearts. And the sun is still shining. It's no different than when the clouds move in and cover the sun up, and we can't see the sun shining, but we know the sun is shining behind the clouds. That may be where your heart is right now. And you can meet your heart right there where it is. But what I want you to know is that the clouds will dissolve. They will go away. The sun will start peeking out one day at a time, and you will see the full sun again. You will have that joy. Your heart will feel joy again. And some days that's hard to believe, and I also understand that. This is the work we're doing together. We're dissolving the clouds. We're refinding, rediscovering where that joy is that's living inside of you. All right, take a deep breath. Take a moment for yourself. And again, if you're driving, listen and do this when you get home. But if you're in a place where you can write this down, I would encourage you to. I want you to write down what you are okay with not being okay with today. So what is it on your autism journey that you are having the realization that you're never going to be okay with it, but for today, you're okay with not being okay with what? Journal that. You're going to discover things that you didn't know were living inside of you. This is a great exercise, and I highly recommend it. And I think it's going to uncover some of the things that are still blocking the joy, that are keeping the clouds over your heart and keeping the sun and the joy from you. So spend some time on this journaling exercise. And once you've journaled it, go back and read it. Go back and read that statement, what you wrote about with what you're okay with not being okay about today. And my hunch is that you're going to start feeling lighter. Again, that shackles off feeling. And you are okay. Your child is okay. Your life is okay. It's big and it's beautiful. It's just rediscovering it and creating your new normal for how your life is and accepting how your life is, and then feel the joy and peace start coming back. If you don't know anything else in those dark moments, I want you to know you're not going to live in the darkness forever. You're not. You're not. You will have the light, the joy, the happiness come through you again. I want you to give yourself grace every single day. Go back to that self-compassion exercise and then apply permission to grieve, and then apply this exercise for yourself. And you're going to feel so free, so shackles off in your life, and continue doing this work. Continue giving yourself the grace and the permission to find your joy again, because it is there and you will get there. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, I do want to remind you, and I told you that I would be doing this because this is important. This is the work that you and I are doing together through these next few weeks on this podcast, is healing the heart. I want you to get this book. If you're not ready to get the book, then please follow the podcast episodes and do these beginning exercises. But if you want to go deeper, you'll want to get A Mother's Guide Through Autism book on Amazon, and you can go deeper with this acceptance work. And I offer that in the book. And it's really important. And remember, this is a mother's guide workbook, so you can work at your own pace. If you're having a day where you don't even want to deal with anything, don't deal with it. This book is meant for you to use as you need to use it. It's not something that you have to devour in a day, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it. But if you're one of those people that want to devour it and then go through it slowly, you have your own system, and certainly honor that. I would love for you to like and subscribe to Mother's Guide Through Autism YouTube channel. That really helps Joseph and I get the word out. And again, our goal is to reach as many moms as we can. And that is something we want to do, to spread knowledge, hope, and inspiration, and help you on your healing journey, and to get to the other side of your grief, and to also know that these 10 pieces that I'm going to cover, you can go deeper with somewhere. In addition to that, we're going to start a book club. I'm really excited about it. We're going to start this September 6th, our very first book club with The Mother's Guide Through Autism. And this will give you a chance to do all the things I'm talking about, to connect with other moms that are on the journey. I welcome any parent, really, and I write about that in the book, that a mom can look lots of different ways. I'm all for anyone who wants to do this inner work with Joseph and I. Join the book club. Join it. I would love to see you there, because a heart is a heart, and knowledge is knowledge, and healing is healing. So that's for everyone, every single human on this earth. And that's what we're trying to do. So if you're interested in A Mother's Guide Through Autism / Through the Eyes of the Guided, to participate in our book club, be watching for, follow us on Facebook, on any social media. We're on Instagram and also Facebook. You can find us, and keep tuning in each week, because I'll be giving you more and more information about how you can sign up. And it's very low cost, and you can even go lower with our early bird price and offerings. So stay tuned for that. And I'll be seeing you in our next episode, where I'm going to be talking about essential advice, piece of advice number 6, to help you all move through your grief and heal your hearts and just be happier. Find that peace. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.